All right. Hello, everyone. I am so thrilled to welcome you to our show, Caring for Your Pet. And this is where you can learn more on how to simply, easily, and compassionately keep your pet healthy and happy. My name is Berns Galang or Berns Berry, your host for the show. And if you're a cat owner and if you have experienced the love of a cat, then you're in the perfect place because today we're going to be talking about feline health and welfare. And with us today is our guest, Terri Grow. She's a brilliant animal health and nutrition expert, and she's really an advocate in promoting awareness about animals and how to care for them and give them a happier and healthy life. Hi, Terri.
Hi, Berns. Nice to see you. Nice to meet you finally. We've been going back and forth through emails.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. I'm so happy that you're here with us today. I'm really delighted to having a conversation with you. And can you
Love to. Anytime I can talk about kitties.
All right, I love that. And can you tell us more about yourself?
Oh boy, I started on a journey of holistic healthcare probably a good 30 years ago. I've been in this for a while. And I started out in 1995. I launched an online and retail business called PetSage. And I ran that store for 25 years, spent a lot of time research and attending conferences to really have a better understanding of the animals that I was helping owners care for. And then about, well, 8 months after the pandemic started, I had to close the store. I had been running it myself, and I just felt at that time it was the best thing to do. But on one hand, they say the door closes, another one opens. I've been able to really spend a lot of time researching cat care and cat well-being and spending a lot more time on education. So yeah, I think that was the passion or the direction I was supposed to handle. I still, I don't think I ever let go of PetSage. It's still there. At some point I don't think the store will ever come back, but I really am trying to just help pet owners and even veterinarians, a number of other people understand the animal that's really living with them.
I see. And PetSage is a wonderful name. And
yeah, it was one of those aha moments when I was putting the whole idea together as a plan. I had, I wanted to do something with pets, and I was very involved and do use a lot of herbs and herbal therapies. And that's when I came up with Sage, and I put the two together, and I actually registered the name. I still own it, so we'll see what happens. And then from that, I came off with the herbal line. I actually developed a line of herbs for cats, which I called Wise Feline, kind of a play off PetSage. So, somewhere around there, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I guess it just really goes that way. One thing leads to another, and then let's just see what comes up, and everything just really unfolds into place. And we're here to witness that. Really, just the fun along the way, and they say the journey is the joy is in the journey. Yeah.
It's what I keep kind of telling myself. It's hard, it's hard. You kind of go, I want to do this, I want to, and kind of just work with it.
Yeah, I feel you. I'm also in the same spot right now. Yeah, and so
all of us, when we get excited about an idea and you really are very passionate about it, you really want to see it put into place and move. And sometimes we just have to follow it a little differently.
And we're really here to experience and discover new things along the way. So I guess it's just really how it goes. And speaking of which, can you share with us your journey and how you developed a passion for cats?
Well, I've thought back this on many years, and I have to say, I have to give my first cat as an adult credit, as well as the cats that my husband and I have lived with for many years. But the real beginning, I think, is once I started PetSage.
Uh-huh.
when I began, and I had the opportunity to really see what was going on in the industry. Cats really weren't looked at as a separate species until the 90s. I really saw a lot of the food choices and I began to study who the cat was. And that's where I began to just put into practice things that I was trying to teach and learn, and really started working with more and more clients, their cats, cat owners, and reputation just started to follow me, I guess. And I would see a lot of cat owners come in, or veterinary referrals based on products that I care, using a lot of herbal therapies, and clients wanted to use those. So I was able to help guide them. So I just kind of, this whole passion just kept developing and growing. So I have, working in retail, I have to thank that, but now I can expand it more in other educational areas.
Yeah, so it's like reinventing yourself and trying out new things. Yeah, it's
Always doing that though,
Well, thank you for sharing that. And
Wow.
yeah, as a cat expert, what is your approach to feline health and welfare?
I think my biggest thing that I spend a lot of time with clients is having them understand who's really living with them. One of the things that I talk about in one of the webinars that I've given is, up until the cat's actually what we call domesticated, or they stepped inside, they had jobs. They were hunters. They took care of rodent control for us. They were companions. In fact, one of the best examples, if we look back at World War II, they were actually on ships. Back in Viking days, they were on ships. They had a job, and we brought them indoors and were told that they were couch potatoes, and they're not. They really need mental and physical stimulation to keep their brains, keep their body agile. They are very sleek, agile animals and very smart hunters. Their bodies are whole designed for hunting. And we brought them in and expected them to follow our rules. And we need to learn more of who's really living with us.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like we really need to bring sometimes the outdoors in, because
Yes.
it's really what they're about. And as of course pet owners, we're here for them, and so we really have to make those adjustments.
Well, one of the things that I try to explain to them is when the cat is living indoors with us, as in one of your emails, you said, we basically brought them in a big cage. These guys we're modern day zookeepers in a way. And so the goal here is to make sure that their home is environment. In the wild, these cats will roam miles, and we're expecting to live in a certain amount of square feet. So we have to make sure that environment is stimulating to them. They're not bored, because a bored cat will get in trouble, just like a bored dog will get in trouble. And we also have to recognize and honor that we regulate what, where, when, and how they can eat or sleep or eliminate. And we have to recognize that it's not only by what we expect. We have to honor what's natural for them and try to create a mutual respect between the two. It's not, letting them run the household, but at the same point, honoring that there are species appropriate behaviors that they need to express, and how can we honor that appropriately. Yeah. So it's a kind of a convoluted big answer for just understand who's living with us. Again, I keep coming back to that point.
Right, and thank you for breaking that down. And I'd like to talk about the sorry, excuse me, feline diet. What are your top recommendations?
My diet, the recommended diets. If everybody could feed an organic, fresh, raw diet, meat-based diet, that would be the ultimate. But in reality, we can't. So what can we do to help enhance that? So there are commercial raw foods. There are lightly cooked foods. There's homemade recipes for both raw and cooked. And to really understand that your cat needs meat. And unfortunately, a lot of pet food manufacturers are using plant proteins as an alternative, and that can set our cats up for issues as well.
Oh, okay.
Sorry?
Oh, I just said okay. Go on.
No. And so there's freeze-dried versions that are very safe to use, and I really like using freeze-dried options. If you're going to use it as a meal, I encourage rehydration. But what that does is bring along a lot of the fresh nutrients. You know, one of the biggest things that I keep trying to explain to pet owners and cat owners, particularly, they need some fresh foods, just like you and I. Fresh foods have phytonutrients, polyphenols, you know, a different sets of amino acids that a lot of the canned foods that are focused on macro and micronutrients, there is thousands beyond that that are not really recognized and are very important for cats to be able to heal, even for nervous system, urinary issues, all of those. So some of those fresh foods, I try to say, think about it as a treat, you know, give some fresh food as a treat, a little fresh piece of meat, even if you want to lightly cook it, or give some freeze-dried treats because they do have some of those fresh nutrients in it. There's canned foods. Canned foods have the higher moisture that is very critical for cats. Probably on the very bottom of my list is dry food. I think dry food is a big trigger. It's, if we look at a lot of the disorders like kidney, urinary, cancer, dry food is right there up there as one of the problems. And it's not that it is, it lacks the nutrition, it lacks the water content, which is so critical, in addition to being overly processed. And we know that the over processing, highly processed foods are also triggering health issues. So, you know, I go from fresh to the bottom of the list is going to be dry foods. Do you use it sometimes as a treat? Absolutely. But as a full meal or an only diet, then you are actually looking at a cat that may be clinically dehydrated.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. It's a wonderful insight. And that, yeah, the dry food is really like very much like potato chips for us.
Well, they are flavored to addict. That's one of the problems. People go, oh, my cat loves it so much, and they like the crunch. Well, I'm not so sure if it's the owner that likes to hear the crunch, because there's been a lot of studies on how humans are happy when they see their cat eating. That's part of the issue that we're seeing with overweight cats. But dry food is actually flavored with palatants to addict your cat. And that's a complication when you try to get them over to wet foods or other foods besides the dry foods. It's, you know, there are times when it's great. If you've got a cat that's not been eating and you really want to work with it, boy, that's a time you want to use those. But it also sets them up for getting them off of those foods can be very, very difficult at times. But it can be done.
It can be done. Yeah. You just have to just try it out. And
yeah. You know, it's patience. Everybody goes, oh, my cat didn't like it, I'm not going to do it anymore. I always use the story. When I had my store, I had cats living there. We had 3 cats that lived there. And one of them was addicted to dry food. I swear, if I would take it away or if he'd start to smell it, I swear his eyes dilated. He got so crazy about it. And it took me 1 year to get him off dry food.
wow.
And whenever he had the opportunity, he would break into food and eat it. I donated a lot of dog food because of him.
Okay, but yeah, it's still, yeah, well achieved. Anyway, it took 1 year, but yeah.
Yeah, I've known of other people. There was someone I was listening to recently. It took her 3 years to get her cat off dry food. So it can be done. It just takes patience. Remember, cats are imprinted at a very, very young age of what their cats are eating, of what they will eat. So if even in utero, if the mother is eating a certain food, they will be addicted to that food. If they are transitioned, and a lot of rescue groups use dry foods, they're going to be addicted and imprinted on that type of food. That's why it makes it a little more difficult to get a lot of our adopted cats off of the dry foods. So it's just, again, it's just patience. They just are, they learn that early, and we have to kind of help change that. So whenever I have a young cat, I try to explain to the owners, do a wide variety. We know now that a variety of foods is very good anyway.
Yeah.
We've actually found that that helps with weight management too. But the goal really is to encourage them to try different things so that they're not stuck on one food.
Yeah. It's in the variety. And yeah, it's
Yeah.
also like with us, because it's really gets boring, and you really get the nutrition that you need when it comes to, different kinds of foods. Variety is really
Right.
the key. And
No, it really does. In using a different rotation, different manufacturers have different supplements, different things. So you're actually balancing on a long-term level. That's the way you really want to look at it instead of a short-term.
yeah, right. And then considering that cats nowadays, they live in four walls with their humans. So do you have top tips or recommendations on how their lifestyles can be improved given these conditions?
I think just physical activity, mental stimulation. I use things in my own household with wand toys. I use, we put on YouTube for the cats with a lot of video programs so that they're watching birds or mice or something. We have window seats all around the house, cat trees. Remember that the vertical space is very critical. Where we look at 2 dimensions, cats actually use height. So a lot of cat trees or areas that they can climb up. There's some great things now for shelving for cats to climb up and create walkways. The more that we can encourage them to move and explore, then they're using their brains, they're using their ears, they're using things that their physiology is designed for. So I think the more that you can create and be active with them is going to help in the long run.
Wonderful. Yeah. And when it comes to the cat's health and healing abilities, can that be enhanced?
I do think so. I think the better diets, again, going back to fresh foods and adding those, I think that's going to help your cat overall. Really giving a foundation of nutrition. One of the things that we really need to understand is diet is the main ingredient for health and longevity. So spend your money the best that you can afford. I'm not saying blow your budget, but if you can afford a little better or try to figure out how to add some fresh foods, you're going to be benefiting his health and immune abilities. There are herbal therapies. I do think that there are some great things that can be used to help boost immunity as well. Different things to help. A regular vitamin supplement, probably not needed, although in certain cases you may need it. But most of your commercial foods are balanced so that you don't need additional vitamins and minerals. What you really want are more of the herbs that might have those phytonutrients in them to help the body.
All right. Thank you for sharing that with us. Yeah. And I'd like to talk about the cat's unique personalities and behavior. What are your thoughts about that?
I loved, I've never met 2 alike,
I totally agree.
They are so different. And one of the things I really like to make a point, I think cats are extremely smart. I've had a number of clients say that how dumb their cats are. I think that is speaking more of the owner. I've been well trained by my cats, and I think that tells us that we really need to pay attention to understand what their needs are, and to help their abilities that way.
Yeah. And yeah, I totally agree. They're really smart. Sometimes I think they're higher forms of beings compared to me.
I can't argue with on that.
Yeah, I have 7 cats that I take care of here, and they're all my bosses, especially
Yes.
the senior cat. Yeah. And, I don't
You
know.
know, I was reading something the other day, and it talked about how, how clever cats are to make us do things for them. There's no clever about it. They know how to work it.
Yeah, and with that charm that they have, and just looking at them, licking, grooming themselves, it's just really, and even if they make a mess, and you see all of the things that they do to give you extra chores, and see them feel love for them anyway.
I know.
Yeah, they're just really that adorable, and yeah, can't help it,
I
no
know.
matter what.
I agree. I keep telling them when they get in trouble, it's a good thing they're really cute. So.
Yeah, no matter what they do. Yeah, whether they're kittens until they grow old, they really just have that innate cuteness.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I'm a slave to them actually. Yeah. And I don't know, I don't own anything here in my room because everything is theirs. Like, I have my computer chair over here and I can't use it because my cat is sleeping right here. So I'm using an old chair. So
I know. Our sofas have their heated bed on it, and then the blanket, which is their recent choice. I get a little section of it. So yeah, I understand.
yeah. And yeah, I also noticed they have different temperaments and needs and wants. I have a cat who wants to be carried like a baby. I always do that, and he always comes to me, and he just taps my leg, and then he just wants a hug, and then I carry him like a baby. And the others are not like that. They don't want to be carried at all, but they want pets. They just want to lie down and demand for pets. Yeah, and the others just they won't let me stop like for 5 or 10 minutes, and if I do, oh my god, I'm screwed.
Yeah. Way to put it.
Yeah. All right, so we're leaning more towards cats, but I believe dogs are also they also have a special place in your corner. So
Yes.
what do you do for our canine friends?
Well, I spent 25 years through PetSage really working with both cats and dogs. And so I always tell people that I unleash what I've learned with cats on dogs. And I do a lot. And what I've been doing more recently is work with how diet affects behavior in dogs as well as health. So it's really looking at, for instance, I was thinking about a case that I've been have been working on. It's a 5-pound Chihuahua, and the owner contacted me that he has early stage kidney disease. He has collapsed trachea, and she was very interested in a diet for him. And what we ended up doing was not only a homemade diet, which was very exciting for me to be able to create this diet, because not only did we address renal disease, the kidney disease, we also used ingredients that were going to help with the respiratory and the trachea issues and moistening that and opening up the lungs. And we added 2 herbal therapies. And I got an email from her not a little bit long ago and saying how much she enjoyed the diet and that he's not been coughing and he's been sleeping through the night. So I am so excited to see that. So yeah, I do work with a number of dogs, and most of the work lately, again, has been more diet related, either helping create a diet. I use the software to design that, or just getting them on foods or showing them how to use commercial dry food with some fresh foods, the combination. So yeah, I do enjoy working with dogs.
Wonderful. Yeah, I had a dog before, and yeah, I'm also planning on having another one when I'm ready.
Yeah, we lost our dog a year ago, and she would go to work with me every day. That was the most
Oh,
fun. She was
oh,
with, it was 11 and a half years. She would go to work. She had her audience. They would ask for her. She would get treats. She was a big part of the store for many years. So
that's
yeah.
sweet. And
Yeah.
11 years, it's a pretty good age.
Sorry.
11 years, it's a pretty good age.
Well,
Yeah.
she actually passed away. Actually, it was longer than that. She passed away just before she was 12 years old. So yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well,
Yeah.
how about yeah, I mean, I'm curious, how do you feel about helping cat owners or even owners who are struggling with issues with their pets that they can't handle themselves?
I do think, it's really exciting now. I've worked with more and more pet care professionals. We have so many that are coming out. It's not just the veterinarian or it's not a dog trainer. We're seeing a whole range of behaviorists, um, as dog walkers, if people aren't as mobile. So I think there is more and more pet care professionals that are going to be available for owners to help them work through things like that. Um, I find it very interesting, the work that I do, that, I'm kind of a go-between with veterinarians and helping people understand what they're feeding, how to help them through some health issues using more holistic ways instead of just medical ways as well. So it's really, I call it creating a network. We now can create a network for the care of your animals, just like you might have a different range of care professionals for yourself. We now have those available for our animals.
Oh, wow, that's wonderful. That's really gonna benefit a lot of animals,
Yes,
especially,
yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, especially
Mhm.
nowadays. And there's also specialization, like some veterinarians nowadays specialize in cats only. And
Yes. No, and I think that's a really appropriate. I mean, in certain situations, I have had particularly veterinarians that are more in tune with cats, and so they can pick up a little more subtle things than, say, a practitioner is working more with dogs. So there is a whole variance there as well.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, from your perspective, this question is really more for cat owners.
Uh-huh.
How can cat owners be the key to their cat's happiness? So to speak.
Well, we pretty much covered a lot of it. Part of it is to really understand, again, I'm going to say this one more time, understand that you're not living with a stuffed animal that sits on the table that sleeps all day. We can really offer training for cats now, clicker training, games, um, get them active, walk them on a leash. There's a group here that I've been following a little bit on taking their cats out now for
Mhm.
hikes and carry them and walk with them. I think that's lovely. We for years we owned motorhomes. We traveled with our animals all the time. That was so much fun. It was just great having them with us. And I think especially the younger the cat you can start introducing to those things, then you're going to have a closer bond and the cat's going to be a lot happier.
Yeah, there's really so much we can do for them, and yeah, the thing
Yeah.
about it is it's really about the connection that we have
Mhm.
with them.
Mhm.
It's really gonna provide meaning for us in our lives and our relationships with them. And
Yes.
really, they really do a lot. There's so many things to be grateful for and learn from them as well.
Oh
They
my
really,
gosh, yes.
yeah, they really do make us better humans. And
I love that. I love that comment because I do believe that myself.
yeah, I actually I've been hearing a lot of stories that people established people are already pursuing their own passions. They are really driven by an animal, either a dog or a cat, and it changed their lives. And they were just
Mhm.
driven to do other things, to learn new things. And I think you're also one of them. You're like a visionary with having PetSage, and now you transition to Wise Feline, which is really
Uh-huh.
awesome.
I do. I actually wrote a blog a couple of months ago for a friend of mine, and I said I've known many people now that a cat has actually inspired them to start businesses or start a website or something along that line. And it's wonderful because it is. I mean, they teach us and then we can roll with it if we choose to. So.
Wonderful. Yeah, I feel that because I'm also doing this for them, through them,
Mhm.
and because of them.
Uh-huh.
And then,
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's really what I'm holding on to move forward. And yeah, just seeing how it goes and what comes out of it. And yeah, it's really,
Mhm. Good for you.
yeah, and yeah, doing this for fun also, and
Think
just
of all the people you're getting to
exploring.
meet too. That's what's really what I love about it.
It is. And the one of the most wonderful things that I realized is that this is really something quite paradoxical and synergistic, because while I'm helping other people who also want to know more about how to care for their pets better, I also end up being helped as well, because
Mhm.
yeah, I also have my own struggles, and I'm really just here to yeah, go and join us, and we can learn more from this show, from this project. And I'm also the same, I'm gathering experts to help us as well, so we can all learn and have fun.
Yeah.
Join in all the fun, and that's really what our pets are all about. They're
Mhm.
really just fun loving creatures, very so present in the moment. And
Mhm.
yeah, it's really
It's
synergistic.
I think I love that attitude because I think we can learn so much from them. You know, it's really, I always say that, you know, it makes us better humans. You know,
Yes.
there's more humanity by watching them and being around them. So yeah.
Exactly. And that they also communicate to us in a way that only cats or only dogs can. And most of the time, we can get that kind of connection from humans.
Yes,
So
yes.
it's really very
Cats are
special.
particularly good. If you don't do it, then I'm going to tell you how to do it.
Yes, very much. Yeah. And yeah, sometimes they really do tell you. And thank you for telling, because yeah, sometimes we really can't, it's really hard to tell sometimes as pet owners.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
They can get their message across many ways.
A lot. They're really that smart. And
Mhm.
yeah. Any final thoughts? Is there anything else that you'd like to leave our audience with that you think is important?
Well, I do. And one of it actually comes out of a webinar I just gave and several
Mhm.
clients that I'm working with recently is the obesity rate. Just as with humans, we now have um, obesity is an epidemic in our animals now. About 50% of the dogs and almost 60% of our cats are obese. And part of that is, I think, a lot of lack of understanding of the nutritional needs of cats, what they need calorie wise. For instance, I've been doing some evaluating on some of the diets, and recommended guidelines can be 3 times what a cat really needs nutritionally for daily allowances. For instance, a 10-pound cat typically needs around 200 calories a day. And I came across a food recently that was recommending 600 calories a day for a cat. That is going to cause, and these foods are flavored, so the cat is continually going to want to eat this. So we really need to ask our veterinarians for better guidance, or help, you know, another pet health practitioner to say, help me figure out what my cat or dog really needs in a daily amount so that we can start preventing this weight gain, because the weight gain then triggers really more problematic diseases as well. We start to see a lot of health issues coming from that. So if I can leave, you know, with people at that is, really speak with your veterinarians or someone that can help you, your pet store that can help you understand what your animal needs. I think that we can help getting a better control on this.
I didn't know that it's really there's a high rate of obesity among
Yes,
cats and dogs. So yeah, thank you for
it
sharing.
is. It's been talked about, and more practitioners are bringing it up. But I think pet owners need to be more aware of it. And part of the problem is a lot of media, make cats think fat cats are cute. And so the perception by a lot of owners is that's normal. So we really need to get a better handle on and recognize what is the proper rate as well. They've done several studies, and about 90% of pet owners had no idea their animal was overweight. So it's just really, again, more education and really trying to understand what they need and having a better control on what we dish out.
Oh yes, definitely. They're not just they're not just there to be cute, and their health and wellness is really the priority. It's our responsibility as pet owners.
Yes, yes.
And
yes.
awareness really is the key. So,
yes.
Yeah. All right. And yeah, for our viewers who would like to know more about what you do, and can you share with us where they can find you? And if you have a free offer in mind, can you share?
I do. I've got a couple of fun things. They're really more educational pieces, since that's all what I'm about. But if you want to learn more about me, it's terrigrow.com, TERRIGROW.com. You can email me through that site or at Terri, TERRI, at terrigrow.com. And I have two papers. One is on, three papers. One is the 10 myths of cat food, 10 cat food myths, 10 dog food myths. And then I also have one on really looking at your pet's environment and how healthy is that environment that you're working with. And it gives tips on, kind of getting down at their level and looking at furnishings and things that are underground or playtime, and really just understanding where you try to feed them as well. There's a lot coming out now of where their dishes are and the activity levels around their foods. With cats, that's a big thing because they are not only predators, they are prey. So they try to protect themselves. And a lot of times, if they feel nervous about eating, that will stop them from eating. So there's a lot going on how and where we should feed our cats as well. So
yeah,
lots of stuff.
Right. I've seen those freebies, those documents, and that's really there's really a lot of value there for pet owners, and I can use that myself and implement what's in there. So for our viewers there, I'm gonna put the links in our page, and yeah, I'll let you know about the updates and more information about that. And
please.
And I learned so much from here, and I hope you do too. We had a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much, Terri.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, thank you for sharing your heart and your wisdom. I appreciate that, and your stories as well. And yeah, it just goes to show that we all can be the key to our cats and dogs' happiness and well-being. And
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and I really hope this show has provided meaning for you, and I hope you learned as well. And
I did.
Yeah, we're really just here to know more on how to simply, easily, and compassionately keep your pet healthy and happy. So I wish you a lovely life with your fur babies, and bye for now. And I'll see you around for updates and for future events. Lots of love. Thank you again, Terri.
Bye now. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right.